Welcome to the Katie Wellness Show, where you get the tools, knowledge, and inspiration you need to transform your health and wellness, body, mind, and spirit. You'll learn holistic and practical wellness strategies that empower you to reclaim your health and fully step into your power. You belong here as you learn to tap into your intuition to support your body every step of the way. Let go of what's no longer serving you and teach these tools and strategies to your family to raise emotionally and physically resilient children. Welcome back to the show. I am your host, Lindsay Katie. Today I'm diving into a really important concept that I want you to understand and truly embrace. And it is this: your health is your number one asset. Without it, everything else becomes more challenging. But it can also be really overwhelming. One, because there's a lot of conflicting information out there about health and well-being. And as wives, as mothers, as daughters, as friends, we wear a lot of different hats, and life can easily feel really overwhelming with all of the things that we have to do, that we want to do, that we get to do, that we dream of doing. If we are not also being mindful of our health and where we are at physically, emotionally, mentally, all of those areas are going to suffer. When we are prioritizing our health, there's this belief, I think, with motherhood especially, is that I have to sacrifice for everyone else. And there is some element of sacrifice in motherhood or in parenthood, but that sacrifice does not have to come at the cost of your well-being. Because if you are not also taking care of yourself, if you're not fueling your body properly, if you are not getting the nutrients and the hydration and the sleep and the rest that you need, you cannot show up in all of those other areas. So my focus, when I meet with clients one-on-one, my focus or my view of health is more than just physical health. It's important to look at your health as all of it. You are more than just a body. You are more than just a spirit, right? When I help people with their health, we are looking at their physical health. How is your energy? Are you strong? Are you able to resist bacteria and viruses? Are you healthy physically, or do you get sick often? Your mental health. How is your emotional resilience? How is your stress management? Do you have brain fog a lot, or do you have mental clarity, right? Those are all things that we focus on. And focusing on spiritual health is also a really important part of your overall well-being as a human. Are you aligned with your purpose? Do you have balance in your life? Are you mindful of your habits and your thoughts? Are they taking you to where you need to go? Do you have goals, and do you feel like you can reach those goals? So when we are aligned with our physical health, our mental health, and our spiritual health, our family, our work, our relationships, our personal fulfillment can all thrive. Now, some of you, I felt like when I had really little kids, I could only focus on one of those at a time. And it would often switch between one of those areas or another. I was definitely in survival mode. And it doesn't feel great. And I was able to pull myself out of it. And I want that for you too. I want you to feel like you're not living in survival mode, that you are thriving in your own life, that you have fulfillment. When you neglect your health, any of these areas, right? If you neglect your physical health, you're going to be sick a lot more often. If you neglect your mental health, you're going to have a lot of brain fog. You're going to be easily triggered when there are stressful situations. You won't be able to think clearly. when one thing goes wrong, everything in your whole life is going to feel like it's going off the rails because of this lack of emotional resilience. And when you're not aligned spiritually with your higher being, your creator, I believe in a heavenly Father. And when I am aligned with his will for me, I feel so much more balance and mental clarity and strength to move forward in life in the things that I know I need to do. So this is just a reminder of all the different areas in your life, not just physical health, not just mental health, not just spiritual health, but you are a very multifaceted human being, and taking care of your whole self is going to help you show up better in your life and get out of that survival mode. There are a few common barriers that moms face when they are working on their health, when they're trying to maintain their health, or when they have realized that they've let their health go too long and they're trying to get back to where they feel well. One of those is a lack of time. I think there's a general belief that among women, especially, that everyone else has to be taken care of before I can take care of myself. And when we do this, when we as women, as mothers, do this, we never get that time for ourselves because we are so busy. There's always going to be someone who needs something from you. And you will be empty and dry before there is time for you to put into yourself. Here's my mindset shift for you. When you put yourself first, when you are pouring into yourself, you have more to pour out to everyone else. When you are fueling your body properly, you're not going to be dragging for energy, meaning you're going to have more energy, more mental clarity to help others, to improve your relationships, whether that's with a spouse, whether that's for your kids, whether that's in your work environment. Putting yourself first is not a selfish act. Putting yourself first so that you can have the energy, so you can show up for your life and for others, is actually selfless. Juggling multiple roles is another common barrier for moms to face, especially in our society where it doesn't matter what women do, they are shamed. If you choose to be a stay-at-home mom, you are shamed. If you choose to be a career woman, you are labeled as selfish. It does not matter what you do, someone is going to have something negative to say about it. So here's the mindset shift. Find what is right for you and go with it, right? Like, look at your physical health goals, your mental health goals, your spiritual health goals, and what is important for you. And then just block out all the naysayers. They don't get a say if they're in the nosebleeds. Another health barrier is sleep deprivation. I especially see this with moms of littles and women also with teenagers. I feel like staying up till all hours of the night waiting for your kids to come home, and especially when that's when kids want to talk, is at night as you're falling asleep and trying to keep your eyes open. Sleep deprivation is a huge barrier that moms face to maintaining their physical health, their mental, and their spiritual health. In episode 6 of the Katie Wellness Show, I talk about the 5 unconventional ways to improve sleep. So if that's something that you struggle with, listen to episode 6. Poor eating habits is another common barrier that face many moms, many women, right? We make sure our kids are well fed and then we eat their leftovers, or we're too busy juggling all of the hats that we don't have time to eat, or we're too stressed to eat, or we just don't want to make one more decision about what to eat. And over time, these barriers or these challenges just build up. They leave us in fight or flight, and we burn out. And then we start to have health issues. We start to have our thyroid starts shutting down, or we have an overactive thyroid, as our hormones have been overproducing for so long because we've been in this fight or flight mode. So here's where I want to help you. I have a few holistic wellness tips for busy moms that address the root of these health challenges. That's where I focus, is how do we fix it at the root? I don't want to give you a Band-Aid fix. I want to help support you from the ground up. How do we support your overall well-being through nutrition? Simple meal prep. Make sure that you have a meal plan can help significantly. If you make the decision one time a week, and then make sure you have all the ingredients for all of those things one time a week, then it's laid out for you. You can be flexible on what days certain meals are served, but you at least have a plan. Another way to address health through nutrition is eating mindfully. When you sit down to eat, are you shoveling it in as quick as you can because the kids need you or you need to move on to the next thing? That is something that can really harm your health. Eating mindfully looks like sitting down at the table, smelling your food. That gets your digestive juices going to help you digest and absorb your food better. Taking a deep cleansing breath before you begin eating, even taking a minute to offer gratitude for your meal, for the food that is available to you. This is mindful eating. Chewing your food really slow, putting your fork down between bites. Maybe you've heard some of these before and you just needed a reminder, or maybe this is the first time you're hearing it. Chewing your food really well helps your body so much to digest the food. Smelling your food helps to digest and absorb the food, right? These are ways that you can fuel your body and not just use food as a pleasure, right? We want food to taste good, but often we get in a mode of I have to eat really fast so I can move on to the next thing, and we aren't being mindful with our meals. When it comes to movement, here are a couple of wellness tips. Incorporate exercise into your daily life. Take a 10-minute walk after meals. This is something that me and my kids have been doing more recently. And it not only has increased our movement, but it has also improved our communication with each other. And it's something fun that we get to do, something that we look forward to doing together. This taking a 10-minute walk after meals not only gets our blood pumping, but it also improves our digestion and improves how our body metabolizes sugar. So we have fewer blood sugar spikes. It is better for our overall health. And it's something that we can do together. So we don't have to choose. We don't have to choose between self-care or taking care of our physical well-being and loving our families. We can do it together. Mindfulness tips, or that spiritual wellness, can be done through meditation or journaling. I really love this practice of a truth lies journal. Anytime we are feeling really down on ourselves or really overwhelmed with a lot of the tasks that we have to do, even if you just set the timer for 5 minutes and on one half of the paper, you write all of the lies that you are telling yourselves, all the negative, right? Like, I'm not a good mom, or I can't eat healthy, or I never have time for myself. For a few minutes, you just write all the yuck, all the negative that you are telling yourself right now. We all have these periods where we get kind of stuck in the muck. Then on the other half of the page, write the truth about those lies. So if you were to write, I'm not a good mom, the truth to that is I love my children and I do the best that I can with what I've given, with what I've been given, right? It doesn't invalidate that thought or that emotion of like, oh, I feel like a bad mom. But it does offer a different perspective, more rooted in truth of I maybe don't feel like a good mom, but I am doing the best that I can with the information and tools that I have right now. I am trying. And gratitude practices can also help us in our mindfulness. Another mindfulness technique that I love that has benefited me so much, especially when I'm feeling really overwhelmed, when I'm feeling bogged down, when I don't have that mental clarity, when when I feel so overwhelmed that I don't feel like I can make good eating habit choices, right? Those times when I'm feeling so overwhelmed that I'm just going to reach for the easy junk food or the food that is kind of that quick dopamine hit, but is not really giving me any nutrition. It's that emotional eating. Another mindful practice that I love, especially when I'm feeling really overwhelmed, when that overwhelm is kind of taking over every area of my life, it's making it so I can't think clearly. It's making it so I'm grabbing the easy, less nutritious food to get a quick dopamine hit. So when I'm emotionally eating, when I feel like I have 1,000 things on my to-do list and I'm not sleeping well because I'm feeling so overwhelmed, I set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes, whatever I feel like I can give. And I just write out every single thing that it is in my mind, everything that's swirling around in my head. If it's, I need to make a to-do list, a brain dump. If I am having issues with, a relationship or feeling inadequate in any area, I just write out whatever comes to mind. And by doing that, I am honoring my emotions and my thoughts and getting it out of my head, which helps me to be more in my body. So I can more easily accept inspiration, or I can more easily feel my intuition. I can more easily be in my body instead of in my head and just trying to think through a problem. I can actually get into my body where I am able to do something instead of just thinking about it. This helps tremendously with stress management and with mindfulness. And as we write out the things, I've noticed that as I write out the things that are bothering me, that I can also recognize the good that is in my life. One of the other stress management techniques that I have is, in order to identify what is stressing me out, I do a big old brain dump on a piece of paper. I list all the things, I write all the things on the list that are in my head that I feel like I have to do, especially when I was a young mom. I remember distinctly doing this when I had my 3 boys, and they were, maybe the oldest was 8. So 8, 6, and 4. And at that time, I wasn't working outside of the home. I wasn't working for pay. I was a stay-at-home mom to these 3 kids. And I felt like my days were making food, cleaning up food, wiping bums, wiping boogers, and cleaning up messes. And it felt like it was sucking the life out of me. And I had a really hard time finding joy in that season, because man, they are so cute and I love them and I would do anything for my children. but I wasn't finding joy in the cleaning up messes and the making food and cleaning up more messes. And I had to do this. I did a big old brain dump, writing down everything that I was having to do, the scheduling doctor's appointments and taking kids to the doctor's appointments and staying in contact with teachers as they were going to school and making sure homework was done and wiping bums and writing down all the things. And then I looked at the list and I circled the ones that have to be done by me. And I crossed out the things on that list that don't really matter. And I put a star next to the things that can be delegated. And on that list, I wrote who I can delegate to or who I can ask for help. And some of the ways that I made it through that season without completely losing my mind is saying no. Every time you say yes to something, to someone else that is not a priority for you, you end up saying no to your family. So I ended up having to learn how to say no. Thank you for thinking of me, but I'm not going to be able to help with that right now. I learned to delegate tasks and just be okay that it was not done to my satisfaction. I had to. Deep breathing exercises. Box breathing is when I first learned about box breathing, it helped immensely. And if you don't know what that is, you can Google it. I know I've shared about it a couple of times on my Instagram account, but it's just breathing in for 4 counts, holding your breath for 4 counts, breathing out slow for 4 counts, and holding it for 4. This is another exercise that helps me to get out of my head and into my body and to just relax for a second. Also, time blocking helped significantly to manage my stress, saying between this time and this time, I'm available or I'm going to work on these things. And between this time and this time, this is my exercise block. And I'm going to exercise and I'm going to fuel my body and I'm going to pour into myself during this time. And then this next block of time, I'm going to be working on these things for my family. I'm going to be able to pour into them. And last wellness tip I have for sleep hygiene. Again, episode 6, I did a whole episode on it, full of simple steps for improving sleep quality. And it's more in depth than taking melatonin before bed. They're actual habits that you can build into your life. So go check that one out. I just want to encourage you, focus on creating sustainable habits that don't require large time commitments, but that make a big impact. That's how you prioritize your health. It's through sustainable habits. The magic is in the motion, not the potion, is a phrase that I've heard that I really like. Consistency, sustainable. That's what I want for you. That is what is going to move the needle forward. There are so many long-term benefits of investing in your health as a mom. Pouring into yourself first so that you can more fully pour out to everyone else. You are going to have increased energy, better emotional regulation, and mental clarity, meaning you're going to enjoy your kids more. You're going to enjoy your life more. You are not going to yell at your kids as much. Right? I mean, there is some aspect of motherhood that feels very out of control, that can feel very triggering for us as human beings. But as you are making sure you are grounded, that you are taken care of, as you're pouring into yourself and being grounded and centered and making sure that your needs are taken care of, then you can be in the moment. You can not be so overwhelmed by everything. You can stop losing it on your kids. You can stop raising your voice or yelling at them or doling out punishments that have no connection to the problem, right? You can have that mental clarity to see what your kids are asking for in their behaviors as they sometimes act out. You aren't going to add fuel to the fire by also acting out emotionally. Your immune system is going to be strengthened and you'll have overall improved wellness, right? This means you can prevent or decrease your chances, and in some cases, even reverse diseases like Hashimoto's, cancer, anxiety, depression, PCOS, diabetes, right? When we are learning about our bodies and listening to the cues that our body gives us, we can help prevent, decrease, and even in some cases reverse some of these diseases that are so common in our society today. Not only are we going to have improved relationships with family and with others if we are not coming from a place of emptiness, right? If we've filled our cup first, we can have these improved relationships, but we'll also have the tools and the mental clarity to teach our kids how to make these health-minded choices. We are setting them up for success. So I want to challenge you, after listening to this episode today, I want to challenge you to take 10 minutes, just 10 minutes to check in with yourself. How are you doing physically? How are you doing emotionally? How are you doing mentally? See if there is one small step. What's one small step that you can take toward your well-being, right? When I ask that question, what's the first thing that comes to mind? That's your intuition telling you this is what you need. Take one small step, right? You are worth it. Your health is the foundation of everything else. I do have a couple of free resources or tools to help you. I have an anti-inflammation guide. It is a free resource, and the link is in the show notes below. I also have a free webinar on being emotionally balanced. It will be held on April 18th, 2025. There is a link in the show notes below that you can join that webinar. So all you need is to register. It is free. All you need is your name and your email address, and then you will be sent that webinar link. Here is your reminder. No one is going to heal for you. You can collect all the experts, all the gurus. You can read all the books and collect all the information and have all the knowledge there. But if you are not willing to do the work, you won't heal. And just knowing about the protocol or the diet or the supplements don't make them work. You have to do the thing. You have to change the habits. You have to take the you have to take the supplements. You have to fuel your body properly. And oftentimes you have to fight for your voice to be heard. You have to stand up for yourself. This is my encouragement to you to live life to your fullest, to feel good, to be energetic and happy and peaceful. And you do this by listening to your body's signal, by focusing on finding the root cause, and don't rule out the emotional side of things. And it takes consistently showing up. It takes a village. It takes involving your families, right? Families living a healthy lifestyle together through mealtime and through meal prep. Doing it as a family not only helps you to stick to your goals and to fuel your body properly and to move your body, it also teaches your children how to have these healthy habits. And that is such a gift to give to your kids. When your health is gone, everything else suffers. Your family suffers, your sleep, your work, your relationships, everything else is going to suffer. So I'm going to encourage you, show up for yourself, pour into yourself, Do the things that you need to do to feel well and to feel balanced. And it is not a selfish thing, even though society may tell us that if you focus on yourself, you are selfish. If you are focusing, the truth, here is the truth. If you are focusing on yourself for the sake of serving others and pouring into others, you are not being selfish. You are actually showing love for yourself so you can have more love to give. Because again, when your health is gone, everything else is going to suffer. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, leave a review, and remember, your health truly is your number one asset. You are worthy of having health, and your health is the foundation of everything else. And I love you, and I want the best for you, and I want you to know that you are worth pouring into.